So my body has to be able to work with all those positions at once, right?
Videos like today's are quite possibly the most difficult part of this channel. Not physically. How do I want to do this?
See, and it's inside.
Yep, it is.
This is Systema, and a lot of people consider it to be the worst martial art ever.
So if I got a couple of guys coming, right, I got to learn how to hit in ways that's releasing the tension from their body.
Do you mind if I jump in there?
Sure.
Okay.
And this man who just knocked my solar plexus into somewhere between my smallest toe and the next biggest toe is a leader in this style. And this is probably going to be one of the more difficult videos I make, because styles like this need to be questioned.
As I'm working, you understand how to work. I don't want to hit your face.
Yeah, appreciate that.
And I think there's a very difficult art to walking up to someone who's proficient in something and trying to decipher in front of them whether or not you think that their thing is good or bad.
Yeah, but in this drill, I think the danger that comes from you is more dangerous than the danger that comes from these with this. So I'm curious how you guys kind of mitigate that. Because mentally, I come in, I'm gonna get hurt worse than you do.
Yeah.
I'm not looking forward to this. I am, but I'm not.
So I overheard you say you're doing this because you felt like you got beat up over the weekend, and this is different.
Yeah, no, this is it's like percussive stand-up massage, really. So it looks like striking, and I guess it is, depending on how you kind of think about it. But if you know how to distribute the force from it, then it's quite relaxing.
This is Glenn. He's actually run me through Systema in the past, but this is one of the first examples that we'll see of a style that just does things differently.
Like some martial arts have core tendencies or things that they go by.
So everything changes, especially when you have an armed system or multiple attackers. And I think what happens with something like Systema is that you have core principles, but they're not. You probably have 100 core principles. So you're trying to control your breathing. You're trying to control your level of relaxation. And that could go all the way from tension to complete relaxation. So I heard someone call Systema the cult of relaxation, which I think is a great...
Interesting. The cult of relaxation.
And I think that's where, if people don't like Systema, that's probably where their mind starts to go. They're like, well, I see people completely relaxing.
Right.
I've tried that in a fight and it would never work. And they're absolutely right.
Starting off with an answer that makes sense, I see. Not really how I get the views, Martin. Come on now. This is Martin Wheeler. He's one of the leaders of Systema in the United States. And from what I've seen of him online, he's got some pretty smooth stuff out there. And watching him warm up throwing punches at 20%, smoothness carries over, I will admit.
So just the first thing to do is just hold the knife comfortably and squeeze it and release it and just start to feel where the most comfortable range of, because you're going to use all these ranges. Sometimes the knife will be loose, you might be here, like trying to control it in some way. Just hold on to it for now so that when you loosen up the rest of your body, your hand doesn't loosen up. If the knife was coming into my face or something like that, my shoulder can be the thing that's working to control.
Okay, gotcha.
As opposed to just flexibility, which might give me some range of movement, but not necessarily if that changes now, really the freedom of movement is what was useful there.
Now, as far as warm-ups go, this isn't the silliest thing I've ever done. Actually, last class that I did with Glenn's, that was the silliest probably.
You gotta remember, a lot of this stuff was designed for someone behind enemy lines, by themselves, no weapons, everyone's an enemy. Can't show that you're fighting because that's going to attract attention. Use the breathing. So maybe push-ups, right? Okay. Again, this is better on a hard floor because this is probably where you're going to be fighting. So you just, and just getting free.
But this is a Systema class after all, and silliness must ensue. Superfluous silliness, we'll see.
So why would this be useful? So yeah, I'll show you. So you're doing an action, but your body's quite stiff.
Yeah. So
while you're doing your work, and a knife is coming in, this would be difficult.
Right.
So you're fighting someone, and you don't have any sensitivity to
someone
the
who
blade.
hates push-ups.
Yeah. So relax your legs, keep your back straight,
Okay.
Free up your movement as you do the push-up. Now start to, there you go. So now you're starting, as you're doing your actions, you're starting to have some sensitivity to the blade.
Right.
Even if it gets through.
Okay.
Which is likely.
Yeah.
So look, if I'm doing this and you're pushing the blade on me, you see I have freedom at any point.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's important to keep in mind that this isn't just about push-ups, I don't think. More so about how Systema thinks differently about how you use muscles and how the way people train confines them to the techniques they're using. That's roughly what I'm getting from this. Was it because I got kicked in the head by someone doing a push-up? Maybe.
So tension, strength.
Okay.
You're going to build strength anyway. Might as well build relaxation into it. So now I could like change hands in these stress positions. I've got to develop the relaxation here.
Yeah.
Control here, maybe.
Yeah.
But put it directly into the hand. Yeah. Now do it in the low position and the high position. Low position, stay there. There you go. It's
A little different. That's wild. Okay.
the more you can do in any position, the less you have to move to another position to start working again.
Okay.
I don't want to go into any positions that I can start working again. I want everything in transition.
Yeah.
That's a capability. And then I'd work on, so for example, I'd stretch out. Please, go ahead.
Yeah.
So straight.
Y'all just did it. Okay.
Good. Now fingers, and then no thumbs.
No thumbs. Oh.
I mean, I'm showing you the hard stuff, you know. And then one-handed, and then, you know.
I'm still shooting for the first one.
But it's useful because now I can work without muscle,
Right.
and just the muscles can be relaxed, sensitive,
Okay.
activate when they need to, and not just be a constant.
Okay, so I will admit, physically, that's very impressive. That immediately everything that I've seen online that I'm like, that's dumb. It's harder to do than it looks. Do I understand it? Not fully. Like I kind of, maybe a little bit.
Even if I'm just like conceptualizing how I see the world, right? So from standing to ground. So if I just keep an eye on him, and I keep working, so that I'm just controlling how I'm seeing the world.
Okay.
From standing to ground. So I make no real distinction between standing or ground. For example, but if he was trying to punch, in here, it's just.
That's one.
Yeah.
I don't have any fear of going to the ground. I could do that on a hard surface. I could do that on concrete.
Gotcha. You don't want to limit yourself to things that you could do or not do.
Well, also conceptually, it's hard for them. If he can't do those things,
Yeah.
it's hard for them to see what somebody else doing. So by the time they do see it,
Yeah.
they're behind the OODA loop.
I want to make sure I word this correctly. Is being difficult to understand, like, the objective, or is it just something that if it happens, that's great?
No, it's the objective.
Okay.
Look, if someone sees Systema and they understand it on video, it's terrible Systema. Like if I was to come up to you like this,
Right.
you're like this guy's a boxer.
Yeah.
You know?
Sure. Like,
If I'm here,
kind of get an
like,
idea. I
your-
think it
your
might.
body's
I think
shifting
it might
already.
go for a
He's
double.
going to stuff it. Right?
Sure. Right.
Okay. But if I don't have to show you any of those things, it's a lot more difficult.
That does make a lot of sense. So essentially, the way they're operating is kind of like close quarters magic, but I'd never say that to Martin's face. Treat it like magic.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You know, it's the perception of the person is important.
Yeah. And can I have? And if I were to pretend this is a spoon, this video is sponsored by Magic Spoon. Do you get it? Magic. Because he said, I said magic, and then I said if this is a spoon. This is a spoon. We all know that cereal is one of the wonderful things that life has to offer, and so is protein. Right now my protein intake is 260 grams a day, so it's nice that even my cereal has protein in it. With every serving having 12 grams of protein compared to like, I don't know, the 2 grams of protein every other cereal has. And actually for me, what I like to do a scoop of protein powder. Welcome to the recipe for Sensei Seth's massive gains. 2 scoops of protein powder, magic spoon to the cereal. I don't know why it turned Jamaican, but gets you a little extra proteins you don't have to feel bad about. A little bit of ice, which doesn't have any protein, but you know, that's okay. A little bit of the water, bada bing, bada boom. Oh. A lid. Magic Spoon's nice because it's got 13 grams of protein, 0 grams of sugar, which is awesome. And then I think it's like 4 grams of net carbs, is that right? Yeah. It tastes like cinnamon rolls. It's legit so much better than when it doesn't have the Magic Spoon in it. They've also got the Magic Spoon treats. These are the same as the cereal. They're just turned into a nice little snack you can take on the go. If you want $5 off your next order, go to magicspoon.com/sensei. You can go to a grocery store, Amazon, pretty much wherever you can get Magic Spoon. But if you want that $5 off, magicspoon.com/sensei on your next order.
Let's just look at this. What we'll do is we'll just build this up from what is my intuitive movement and how to build that into technique. Imagine you're on the edge of a cliff.
Okay.
You can't step off the cliff, so we're going to isolate your movement so that you can't move around.
Okay.
So now you have to move internally.
Right.
Okay, so you're going to have to figure out what your life or death instinct is.
Okay.
Okay? So if I was to push here, exactly, your life instinct is to get away from the knife.
Yeah, 100%.
So if you're doing this, now you look like you're doing Systema.
It does.
Okay.
Yeah, and I fell off a cliff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody who does knife fighting knows you're going to get cut, especially if you spar a lot. There's no way around it. But do the same thing with me, and I'm just freeing myself and letting my body learn how to react.
Sure.
Okay, so worst case scenario, this happens. So let's just look at that as a defensive thing.
Okay, sorry. I apologize. Once was funny. Twice was way too much.
Again, hostile environment, someone trying to kill you, an assassination or something like that.
Right.
And then exactly, now relax. No, relax. Just breathe, restructure yourself with the breath and turn towards me.
Dance parties aside, what I've learned about Systema is on the surface level, it looks unorthodox. It is unorthodox. But pretty regularly, it fundamentally ends up making
Take
sense.
the center line. If you turn this way, you're going through the most of you. If you go this way, you're going through the least of you.
Right.
Okay, if you completely turn, I'm going to take you back. You're
Right.
going to have to start working from there, which is another example.
Right.
Okay, I'll just go slow so you can feel it.
Yeah.
Okay? So work.
This is where I think people get tripped up, and I'm a little tripped up on it right now, does it look like that as you
Okay.
pick up speed, I guess, if that makes sense?
I know you're a tough guy.
Yeah.
I won't hurt.
Yeah, you definitely have a knife.
Okay, so now I'm reading your actions as they're coming.
Right.
Right, so I'm now using the tension, feeling out the space.
I don't want to come off as disrespectful.
No.
Okay, cool.
I don't want to.
Just check. There's like, it bothers me when people try stuff and you see them kind of like,
Give up.
yes, yeah.
There's no fate.
I don't want to act like,
No, we don't. I don't want fainting goat syndrome.
cool.
But you also have to understand that striking becomes an effect in this now.
Sure.
Right, so this is all part of the.
Yeah. There's a very specific shot that you got back there.
Okay, so
I still feel that very much so. You hit that in a spot that I feel like I've never been touched before.
welcome to Systema. These are light strikes.
No, yeah. Oh, yes. I believe you. They don't feel light.
Yeah.
I guess, like, how intense does the intensity level get for something like
It's
this?
whatever you want to do.
Okay.
It depends on the club. It depends on the people training. Oh, so because he's more used to take. You okay with strikes?
Glenn, buddy, this one's my bad. I'll take ownership of this one. I'm sorry.
So you work to control,
Sure.
but it doesn't look like anything from the outside,
Right.
right? Once you're working on how to control the space
Right.
inside of them as much as anything else. Sure. And realistically, you see, it really shouldn't look like anything. You okay? Okay, you're good.
Yeah, just lost it for a second.
Obviously, people will say, well, he's going slow and I'm going fast.
Right, yeah,
But
yeah,
I'm not.
yeah.
I'm going relative,
Yeah, I guess you're not going that fast.
right?
Right.
And so even if he comes faster or whatever his thing is, you see, it's.
Should have caught you, sorry. Yeah, I got out of the way. That was my bad. I'll make sure I keep you safe. So I guess it's technique talking. My thought process is the faster you go, the less technique you keep.
You would think.
But I guess if you're not,
But if you're not working in techniques, it's different.
yeah. Do you notice that at a certain speed you lose some of the
It's just harder on them.
fluidity, connectivity?
Really, it just becomes harder on them.
Okay, gotcha.
This is the second time I've brought up technique, and I learned that Systema doesn't really practice technique the same way every other martial art does. If you think of like a boxer practicing a jab over and over again on a bag, on a mitt, that boxer would try to get that specific technique and movement as optimal as possible. Systema treats a punch more kind of like a living organism. And the first time I heard this, it was probably not too dissimilar from what you're thinking right now. Oh, silliness? That's silliness. And then you get punched by him.
So even if I was just like Muay Thai striking, right?
Yeah.
So we're a boxing position strike.
Sure.
Okay. Well, if I free that, one thing is just to release it. Another thing is to, I'll just build it.
Okay. I've been here before.
Okay. This is just an opener, just to see where you're at.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
That was the opener?
yeah.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
Right. So, you see, and it's inside.
Yep, it is.
You see?
I was fully prepared
So
for that.
now, grab the breath. Grab it. No, internally, grab it. Grab the snake. There you go.
Yeah, a little bit. That is.
Okay.
I do have it back.
There's a few things that he did that I could not explain, but then happened. Like, that was a good example. If you want to get access to the uncut video, the whole thing, there's a lot of interesting moments and nuggets of information that Martin Wheeler gives us here. If you become a Yellow Belt channel member, you get access to this uncut video, as well as other uncut videos that I've made in the past with other instructors. $2.99 a month. It's not a bad deal.
Okay, so now I'm not going to hit hard.
Okay.
But look, if I hit in the same spot, this is this.
Yeah.
Right? If I wanted to open that up to this, that would be this.
Okay.
If I wanted to open up to the whole body, see, that would be, and that's just catching your whole tension system.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. I don't know why I covered my glove.
Okay, so now I'm not hitting hard, right?
that
It's
before.
just, right, but again, this is just here.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to make it in the neck, right?
Yep.
Feet, right? So I'm starting to internally change, and that becomes hard on the other person because where they get hit is not where they're feeling the pain.
Yeah. I don't think I'm going to be able to do that.
Okay,
That one seems like something you might be a little bit better at than I am.
okay.
I don't really fully understand how they generate this kind of power, and specifically feeling from such close quarters. I think it's because they're focusing less on what they're doing and more on how it's impacting you. But I think of it as kind of like Cold War Russian magic weirdness. And turns out I'm not super wrong. The foundations seem to go back 1,000 years-ish. There's no real single founder. There's no moment, a specific place. But most written accounts of the origins of Systema are a mix of oral traditions, religious, legend, and Soviet-era propaganda. And it wasn't even really called Systema until the late 20th century. It was called something like military martial arts or something like that in Russian. There's different versions of this history. One, that it was created by the Cossacks, which is a group of East Slavic-speaking people known for their military prowess, which then it was adapted in the 20th century to become more modern. So if you think like KGB, Soviet Spetsnaz, spies, it was thought to be modernized in these kind of unspoken backroom military operations in like the Cold War era. Stuff that's probably supposed to be a secret. So you know what else is probably hard to find? The history. So yeah, much like the actual style itself, the history is also kind of hard to figure out.
I'll just take this at a reasonable speed so you can kind of see it, but what if we built this into a multiple attack thing? Even if you're fighting one person, you're never fighting one person. Guns can get pulled, anything can get. And you have to be, like, nobody's bulletproof.
Right.
Nobody's knife proof. So you have to have a high level of sensitivity as to what's happening. So I'm just going to show how to build this up from the same concept of what we did there. And all I was doing with this, right, was, it doesn't matter, whatever knife, okay, is my body's starting to get an understanding of what the intuition is to get away from the blade. I'm giving myself beats that I can start to open up. So look, if I was to take 3 knives, just initially,
Yeah.
okay, ridiculous situation.
I've seen this one before.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you see guys like they turn and stuff like this, okay.
Right.
But really what I need to do is be able to move off this blade, not into this one.
Sure.
So my body has to be able to work with all those positions at once, right? At the same time.
Right.
So I have to have a lot of internal freedom and control, but I'm relying on the intuition to have its own intelligence as well, because I can't think about that.
I guess it's not a drill thinking, okay, this is a situation that happens a lot.
No, I get a sense of movement all the time.
Gotcha. That
Yeah.
looks way better than movies. I'm not gonna lie,
But it's
yeah.
going to happen again and again.
Right.
You see, I'm opening. It's okay. You got some. Don't miss me. There you go. Just stab me. It's fine. There you go. Oh, you okay?
Yeah.
Sorry. Even if I get into a striking thing, if I hit him, it stabs me.
Right.
So I have to understand again from the sensitivity of the environment how to hit him in ways that the knife is not stabbing me.
Yeah.
Out of reaction.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. Because striking has like very specific things that both sides of your bodies do.
So I have to understand how to hit so that it releases the blade.
Right. You guys did this all weekend?
Yeah.
You guys. You did like this all weekend? Gotcha.
So if I got a couple of guys coming right, I got to learn how to hit in ways that's releasing the tension from their body.
Do you mind if I jump in there?
Sure.
Okay. Not as the.
Let's go slow.
Yeah, I was gonna say as one of the knifers.
The body's action is working.
Yeah, that's not ideal for me. Yeah, rubber knife doesn't help.
I'll just go slow so you get a sense of it.
Yeah, I wanted to do that because I want to know how much you guys are giving up. Like I understand you're getting hit hard too. It's not like they're not being as much of giving ukis as it comes off.
There's no Uki in Systema.
Yeah. Oh,
You all right?
yep. Yeah, those just set in late, you know?
Okay, now that I've had a little bit more time to marinate in this, there's things that I don't like about this, but there's also some things that I do. The nature of practicing like this, depending on how hard you're hitting each other, is you'll be able to practice it a lot. And a lot of practice is better than 2 practices where you get hurt on the second one. And then when you're looking at when they are whacking the absolute crap out of each other.
Realistically, you see, it really shouldn't look like anything.
I've done the most intense knife training you can possibly do. And one thing I noticed was it doesn't really matter how well you grapple and grab onto the knife. It's still gonna stab you, and that I wish I would have struck more to get their mind off of the knife. Now, with that being said, the danger paradox of this drill is that the person with the knife is not really causing any harm to the person who's receiving the knife. In this drill, not in real life. Which kind of shifts how the knifer operates.
There's an element of self-preservation in the thing then, do you know what I mean? Like, so if I attack like an absolute idiot and I go blundering into this and I let them smash my face in.
Right.
We don't last very long in training, so there's an aspect of like, when I realise I'm controlled, I start to try and move away from it.
He's also learned.
Right. Yeah, like so to minimise the damage, right? So,
You are.
yeah.
I think the danger that comes from you is more dangerous than the danger that comes from these with this. So I'm curious how you guys kind of mitigate that. Because mentally, I come in, I'm going to get hurt worse than you do.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Does that play any
That's part of it.
role in it?
Definitely. I mean, you're not really dealing with 3 people. You're dealing with an organism that has 3 parts. But I'm using my breathing to relax. I'm relaxing my body, but I have power in the system. I'll strike it just a little harder, a little deeper, not tough.
Okay.
Are you okay with this?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So look, as I'm working, you understand how to work. I don't want to hit your face.
Yeah, appreciate that. Yeah, I definitely feel it. So the thing is, like, from the inside, it does feel like you are in control. I think there's a gap between what people see and what's actually happening.
Yeah, that's intentionally.
Yeah. Okay, gotcha. Can I try? I won't hit you guys.
Yeah.
The being the knifed. It looks kind of difficult, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
You guys aren't supposed to come at me at once. Yeah.
Just wait.
Come at me like one at a time or something.
Take your time. Breathe. Relax. Keep relaxing. Breathing. Good idea. Nice. Take your time. Breathe. Just think about it. Just get out the way. Good. Very good. Take your time. Okay, now back. Okay.
It's definitely way harder than it looks. That is definitely harder than it looks.
But again, maybe I just don't understand it. Systema is a system designed to not be understood, so I wanted to get the opinion of someone who had taken it for a long time, who could speak better on it than I could.
Basically, I served 27 years in the Special Operations Forces.
Okay.
I'm retired 06.
Why do you choose to do Systema over other martial arts?
So, I've done several martial arts over my life.
Yeah.
Even a little bit before I came into the military and then throughout the military. And I never came across an art like Systema until I found it. And I realized I was like, every martial art is nerfed to a certain extent because it's dangerous. You can't simulate a real fight without somebody get hurt.
Right.
Okay. The nerf on Systema is only speed.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Which that immediately connected to my military experience because we always would train slow is smooth is fast.
Sure.
Right? Because the myelination is happening even if you're doing a movement slowly. The myelination on the nervous system is still happening. And then when you ramp up to speed, it's there. Okay? If it's not there perfectly, it'll adjust and have to get myelinated a different way. But what you're doing in Systema is we're not limiting the movements. And we're not limiting the environment.
Yeah. Or even the contact.
Right. We're throwing everything at a person that a person could get thrown at them.
Sure.
Whether it be weapons, ground, stand up, multiple attackers in the bus, whatever. And then we're learning how to use our nervous system and our body to be the most effective in that environment. I've seen no other martial art or any movement practice as creative as Systema. Like we're rolling, we're doing all kinds of crazy moves, anything you can think of. It's like jazz compared to classical.
Sure.
It's just very improvisational, it's very creative, and that creative movement is healing. And not only that, but we also, because we're used to touching each other and striking each other and mashing on each other and mashing our tissues and finding the tension spots, massage is a huge aspect of Systema.
Okay.
Even though it might look a little different than what you think a massage is.
Sure.
Because we're also learning how to control a person.
Right.
But that's the brilliance of it. It's like, okay, they came up with a healing art that's actually teaching you combative arts as well at the same time.
Yeah.
That to me it obsesses me about the art. I've been doing it 10 years now, and I can't get enough.
Right.
So.
As for my closing thoughts on Systema, there's a couple words that ring in my brain. Martin spoke about tension a lot, and I take that as the same type of tension you would feel from a boxer who throws everything with full conviction. And the only way you mitigate that is by being more relaxed than they are. And that is exactly what they're doing. The way they practice these techniques on one another is what I somewhat relate to Muay Thai sparring. Muay Thai sparring is not the hardest you can go. It's much more play. Now, this is that to the 10th degree. This is... there's sometimes they're beating the crap out of each other, I will admit. I think if you pair together the way they move and think with their unorthodox striking, it makes sense that the general public, sometimes including myself, would be more questioning. And here's the thing, Martin Wheeler is a judo black belt. From what I understand, he's done a fair amount of kickboxing. He co-runs an academy with Higan Machado. So, you can't look at the man and be like, he doesn't know what he's talking about, because it's just not true. When he explained how people aren't supposed to understand Systema and how it's supposed to come from a place that's more hidden, I related to that through the whole video. I came into this wanting to question as much as I could, but hearing every answer that he had, sometimes I think they were too intricate for me to fully comprehend. I left a lot of it in because maybe you do, but being in the little movements with him, it's hard to explain. When he moves you, it doesn't feel like you're going with the flow, like you are being put there. His ability to strike one after another without like a lot of downtime in between or thought process in between, that's impressive. In martial arts now, we talk so highly about flow state. These dudes are flowing like a river. These dudes are flow state. These dudes are like flow country. Before I started this video, I mentioned that these are some of the hardest videos for me to make, and that's true, because I have to balance my own skepticism with my own willingness to learn. It's a very hard thing to do. So I do appreciate Martin and Glenn and everybody else for coming out and explaining this to me, or for helping me understand some of the context of what you typically see. Martin's YouTube and his website will be linked down below. I think he's pretty fascinating to talk to. He's an incredibly nice guy. This is just a subject that I think is a little bit harder to wrap your head around. Till next time, subscribe or I'll Systema you. Whoosh.